just like we have an inhale that's sympathetic and an exhale that's parasympathetic, we have the follicular phase of the cycle, right? And the luteal phase of the cycle. Because of course, there's so many other hormones. There's human growth hormone. There's, the luteinizing hormone. I mean, we're filled with hormones. So we're just talking about some most important sort of benchmarker ones. And then here, of course, this is a very long arc for most people, but you have when you begin your period, and then you have a long period of fertility where inside of that period, there's lots of these mini cycles, hundreds and thousands, because it's not just about the bleed, it's about the other cycles that are truncated, right? So if you've had a pregnancy and then a loss, whether it was a chosen loss or a spontaneous loss, that's a way that the cycle's not coming all the way through biologically. If you've given birth and there's been intervention or surgery, that's an incomplete cycle. It doesn't make it wrong. It just means that there's physiological things that didn't happen. And knowing that there's a cycle gives us information about how it is that we can heal those ruptures. So, for instance, if you had a postpartum time where you didn't have what you needed nutritionally, relationally, physically, at the end of a cycle, a period, when you are bleeding, and just each person is different with how this works, but during a bleed, you can really give yourself what you didn't have postpartum. And because there's resonance hormonally, and also it's hormonal, it's physiological, right? You're more impressionable. This is why in indigenous cultures, for instance, in Mexican culture, women wear a faja, which is a thick piece of cotton around their pelvis when they bleed. Because why? Your pelvis is more unstable. You've got more elastin and relaxin in your system. And they know, okay, we want longevity here with being able to walk and having our organs in the places we want them to be and being sexually vital. And so we're going to support the structure and support the organs. That's the same thing that you would do postpartum. And I think what I'm gathering is it's also what needs to happen in certain phases of transition, like perimenopause. Because after menopause, the shift is going to be more complete, right? But it's in these windows of change that the system is so impressionable. And we either can impress things that are not functional, meaning whatever we choose will stay with us over time, and it's harder to heal. It's not impossible. Or we do the things we know that are biological requirements of the time, and then we potentiate our system based on that. Breastfeeding, sex, and birth are analogous in terms of what's happening in the hormonal system. It's a cascade of oxytocin. Specifically, it's an oxytocin dopamine circuit.